Hello there, and welcome back to my channel. I am the Rogue Witcher. Thank you for joining me. On today's video, we will be ranking the Star Wars television series from my least favourite to favourite. I'll be giving them a ranking of 1 out of 10. The overall ranking system is based on script, choreography, acting, visual effects, and also how much I enjoy it. So there might be a video that has a higher rating but is lower down on the list because I might just like a film more with a lower rating. We can all like bad films, I guess. Please hit the thumbs up, hit the like button and subscribe if you're interested in this sort of content, and put a comment down below to help support the channel and grow the channel. Things you like, don't like, feel free to put it in the comments below. Without further ado, let's get into it. In at number 12, The Acolyte. The Acolyte I'm giving a 5 out of 10. Now, a lot of people might feel it's very controversial out there right now. The Acolyte is very divisive on the side of you either love it or you hate it. It's very Marmite. I'm actually somewhere in the middle. I think there is good things about The Acolyte. I think there's terrible things about The Acolyte. My biggest problem with it is I think it's governed by people who don't know Star Wars. Me personally, Leslie Helland, I don't think knows a great deal about Star Wars. The tone, the script, it just didn't work for me personally. I didn't mind some of the characters. Osha and May I thought was very interesting to start off with. Sort of very similar in the way though to Anakin, made by the midi-chlorians. I just feel like it was rushed. It wasn't what was portrayed when it was first announced. It was going to be a very dark view of the Sith series. I did not get that at all. I thought some of the actors did perform well. The actor who played Master Sol, I thought Master Sol was a very good Jedi. I really enjoyed him. One of my favourite characters actually now in Star Wars is Jackie. That was the bright light to come from the Acolyte for me. Was Jackie's character. Sort of reminded me a bit of Ahsoka in that Padawan sort of way. It started off strong. I enjoyed the first couple of episodes, bit of a murder mystery, but for me you find out too soon. Then there's a couple of episodes where nothing really goes on, and then they build up episode 7 that's going to be this great reveal, and it just really isn't. It's silly. The witches I thought were silly. It just didn't work for me. The big finale, they just threw a couple of cameos of Plagueis and Yoda. It just didn't work for me personally. There is some good things about the show to enjoy. I thought the fight choreography was phenomenal. I really enjoyed the fight choreography. It was one of the better ones in Star Wars shows recently, because for me the fights have not been good enough of late, but the Acolytes seem to really get it down. So the one positive from the Acolyte, I would say, is the fight scenes. Number 11, Tales of the Empire. I give Tales 6 out of 10. I thought it was okay. It was a follow-up to Tales of the Jedi. 6 episodes, mini, short episodes. Just, it sort of fell into the, am I bothered? Am I super interested? And yeah, there were some really cool episodes and a couple of really boring ones. Morgan Elsbeth has 3 episodes, and we sort of get a little bit of background on her and how she works with Grand Admiral Thrawn, which was interesting. But other than that, it just wasn't really for me. Again, we did see, the end of the Night Sisters, which was cool with General Grievous. So again, some cool things. For me, I really liked the episodes, especially the first 2 with Barriss Offee. We've been waiting to find out what happened ever since her battle with Anakin after turning on Ahsoka. So we got those answers, but then the last episode, nothing happened. It was quite strange. She sort of turned good again. Is she alive? Is she not? We don't know. It's very up in the air. So, a cool little animated short series, but nothing too interesting. In at number 10, The Skeleton Crew. Now, this is a spoiler warning because The Skeleton Crew I know is only just finished, so I have seen it all, and I will be talking about things that have happened in it, so you have been warned. I give The Skeleton Crew a 6 out of 10. It's a fun kids show in the Star Wars universe. You sort of forget that it's Star Wars in a sense. It's very Goonies feel, Stranger Things. The kids are great, the characters are really funny. KB, Neil, Fern, Wim, they're brilliant. The droid SM33, I feel it was a good ensemble. It was a good cast. It was fun adventure in space. You know, the visuals were very good. There wasn't too much jeopardy. It is a kids' show. Jude Law was brilliant. He played a pirate slash Jedi Force wielder. I guess he never really became a Jedi. He sort of had very brief training. He became quite evil, actually. It was quite dark in some of the latter episodes, which I wasn't expecting, which was cool, and I did enjoy. It was fun, light-hearted, and just a fun, easy watch in the Star Wars universe. I thought it ended a bit weird. It sort of just ended in the middle of, you know, without sort of tying up, as it were. We don't know what now has happened with the kids. We assume that the New Republic has helped take over Aladdin and has it up and running again. We don't know what happened with Jude Law's character. He sort of just, yeah, it just ends without really telling us anything more about him. But like I say, a fun show, one I enjoyed. In at number 9, Andor. I give Andor a 7 out of 10. People are going to be surprised it's that low. I do like Andor. It's just long. There's a lot of episodes. There's a lot to get through. Visually, one of the best shows ever made in the Star Wars universe. It's visually stunning. I thought it was written very well. And it is cool to get more of a show based on a character we've enjoyed from Rogue One, seeing how he joined the Rebellion, how the Rebellion works, and really get a deep dive on that. You know, Mon Mothma, you know, a character we've seen glimpses of here and there, is a larger part of the show, which is quite interesting. We had of course, the amazing episode with Andy Serkis in the prison, which was phenomenal. I really loved that episode. It was brilliant. But overall, I was just like, I like it, but I don't love it. It's written well, it's cool, but it's sort of one I forget about at times. So that's where I'll leave it on my list. Tell me down below in the comments where it is in your list. Number 8, Tales of the Jedi. I give Tales of the Jedi 7 out of 10. Again, it was the first season of the 6-episode shorts written by Dave Filoni. This one was much better. I enjoyed it much more. 3 episodes on Ahsoka, my favourite character. I really enjoyed seeing the episode where she learned to fight off the clone troopers and the blasters, which of course pays dividends later on in Clone Wars. It was also cool to see Captain Dooku as a Jedi and see where his doubts with the Jedi began to start to fall in his mind and his being manipulated. I think the loss of Qui-Gon really was the final straw, and he was just sick of the way the Jedi were going about things. Great episode with him against Master Yaddle. Could sort of see that he didn't really want to do it, but he did. And I did find it interesting. And it was cool just to get a little intro into Count Dooku. Again, the Ahsoka episode's also very cool. It was just a fun, easy watch. Easy going. Easy to like. In at number 7, The Book of Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett, I give a 6.5 out of 10. Mess is the word, but an enjoyable one with The Book of Boba Fett. Some episodes, no Boba Fett, surprisingly. Sort of a half Boba Fett, half Mandalorian show of the success of The Mandalorian. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau decided to make the show about the infamous bounty hunter Boba Fett. Of course, and I really did enjoy it, but so much was not really on the tone that I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to get a more dark, gritty show about Boba Fett being more of a badass. He's sort of a bit of a leader, you know, bit of a good guy really, which isn't really Boba Fett's style, not for me anyway. It's not what I was hoping for. It is cool, and there is some really cool episodes, especially when the one with Luke training Grogu, seeing that he sees Ahsoka, he knows Ahsoka. Obviously, we all want to see how they met, but that was really cool to see, and it was just really emotional to see the two of them together on screen for the first time. The final episode of him riding the Rancor, and of course, you know, Mando showing up in a great, big final, great battle. Having Cad Bane be on live screen was fantastic. You know, the episode before, he shot Cobb Vanth. We don't know really what's happened with him. We think, you know, he's on the back to tank being healed. Hopefully we'll see him again, maybe in one of the upcoming movies. Yeah, just a bit of a mess. I enjoyed the start of the show. I thought the first episode was brilliant, seeing Boba Fett rise out of the Sarlacc pit. seeing him interact with the Sand People, and I kind of enjoyed that, and I was hoping maybe for a bit more of that and a bit more of him going for revenge after what happens, but it just sort of filtered out, and he was a bit nice. You got the kids on the scooter bikes, which was a bit hilarious, and yeah, it just felt like a bit of an excuse to sort of also make more episodes as a backdoor for Mando. Grogu comes back, which if you don't watch Boba Fett, then you're confused by the time you watch next season of Mandalorian. Sort of undoes the end of Mandalorian season 2 in some people's eyes, but nevertheless, I enjoyed it. It was a fun watch. It was cool to see Cad Bane, and it was cool in a lot of moments. In at number 6, Star Wars The Bad Batch. I give The Bad Batch a 7.5 out of 10. I really liked it. I feel like when it comes to animated, Star Wars just doesn't miss. But back to The Bad Batch, I just felt it was really, really good. It follows Clone Force 99, which were introduced to in the final season of Clone Wars. They are right at the start of the reign of the Empire. You know, you get that great clip of Kanan Jarrus, aka Caleb Dune, and his master being attacked during Order 66. And we just get to see these clones, how they navigate going from the rule of the Republic to the Empire, and where they fit in the whole transition, of course, because they start to get rid of the clones and they start to bring in other people to be stormtroopers. They start to treat the clones badly, and they're their brothers. You see a real camaraderie. Rex is in it a lot. Cody even appears, and I really just connect with the characters. You know, Omega, of course, a young kid, a female clone, and they are like older brothers, even though they're younger brothers. Protect her and guide her. I think the characters are brilliant. Wrecker, Crosshair, Tech, you know, Hunter. Crosshair, I think he's the most interesting character of the show for me, because it's his fall into being a good soldier / bad soldier, and he becomes a bit of a villain, and then you see his turn, and it's because of Omega. Omega really brings him back, really, you know, shows him what it's like and why to be a good person and a good guy. Hunter, of course, is always there, the leader. Wrecker's just a bit of fun. Tech and Echo are good characters. Of course, losing Tech was emotional, but I just think overall Crosshair for me was the character that was the most important in the show and was the most important in Omega's journey for me. It ended brilliantly. I really loved the ending, you know, tied in some of the cloning that was going on for what we sort of see in a bit of Mandalorian with Emperor Palpatine and his plan, which of course pays dividends at Rise of Skywalker, of how he wants to stay alive forever. We don't see too much, it's sort of just teased. But yeah, brilliant ending. Omega, time jump, grows up, she's older, and she goes to join the fight. Do we see her in a future project? Maybe. That would be cool. I'd like to see it. But overall, just a really fun show and really well done from Dave Filoni and the crew. In at number 5, Star Wars Rebels. I give Rebels an 8 out of 10. I love Rebels. It's such a great show. It is a kid's show, but yet it has so many themes that I think you can really enjoy, even as an adult. The animation style is different, but I still really enjoy it. The characters are brilliant, you know, Sabine the Mandalorian, Zeb Orrelios, Kanan the Jedi, Hera the pilot, Chopper the droid, and of course you have Ezra the Padawan, and sort of his journey. He's sort of the main character of the crew on the Ghost as they fly around during the time of the Empire. Sort of not really a part of the rebellion just yet, but as they start out helping and, you know, really getting things going with the rebellion. Other characters are in it fantastically. Ahsoka returns all those years later. So many unanswered questions. We get to see her in one of the best episodes when she fights Vader at the end of season 2. You know, slashing off half of his helmet, seeing Anakin, seeing all that history and the feeling behind it, seeing their reunion, something we'd waited for years to see, and him being quite sinister and dark towards her, which was really cool. I think it's a show that actually hits a lot of emotion, even for an animated show, with its themes, Darth Maul, of course, again returning fantastically, finally seeing how his story ends with Obi-Wan out in the desert of Tatooine. Where it began is where it ends. I think overall, Rebels, although fun, had a real strong theme with Star Wars throughout. A lot of characters being in it that I thoroughly enjoyed. It all comes to an emotional end, of course. Kanan dying at the end of season 4, beautifully, the way it was done. I really connected with it. Ezra having to step up in those final few episodes and really, going up against one of the best villains in Star Wars, Grand Admiral Thrawn, introduced in season 3. He was phenomenal. Really enjoyed the way they used him in animation. So sinister, so clever, always one step ahead on the chessboard. But Ezra manages to overdo him, sort of, as we know with Ahsoka now, the show, but it sort of sets up Ahsoka with the end of Rebels. And I just think it was a brilliant show, really enjoyable, definitely one you should watch. In at number 4, The Clone Wars. The Clone Wars will probably be higher on a lot of people's lists, and if it was just season 7, it would be probably number 1. It's just that there's so many seasons, so many different story arcs, some that aren't as interesting as others, some that's just not as compelling. It was obviously interesting to see how the animation grew and got better and better over time. Ahsoka is my favourite character, which is basically, thanks to Clone Wars, everything we get about her from, starting out in that animated movie as Anakin's apprentice all throughout when she leaves and then comes back later for the siege of Mandalore when she fights Darth Maul toe to toe. Fantastic. There's so many great arcs like Darth Maul and Savage Opress going up against Emperor Palpatine, which is fantastically done. Great shots of Star Wars in there. Great fight scenes. Really loved it. I loved getting a deeper dive of General Grievous. I thought he was a fantastic character. Getting a lot on Obi-Wan, Rex, a lot of the clones and Cody. We really get a deep dive on all of those characters. I just feel like it did go on some story arcs a bit too long and it got a bit boring in certain areas, but overall, fantastic show. Loved Visage Press, another great character, Count Dooku's apprentice. Sorry about my pronunciations on some of these words, I'm terrible. I really liked, especially the final season, and the final episode was super emotional. Vader showing up at the end, seeing Ahsoka's lightsaber fall. I wish we'd have got, even in some ways, more Clone Wars. I know I said it went long in certain areas, but there's so many other arcs they could have done. I loved the Mandalorian arcs. I loved, seeing Obi-Wan, lose really his love, Bo-Katan, fantastic, brilliant character. She's one of my favourites. I really like Bo-Katan Kryze. But yeah, Obi-Wan losing the Duchess really was a great moment in the show. Really seeing his foe Maul get the better of him and take the thing that he really loved outside of the Jedi Order was really cool. And seeing the Mandalorians fight and the way their way is, this is the way of war. Always seems to be civil war between the Mandalorians. But very interesting, very cool. A lot of great characters introduced in that show. Animation style, fantastic. And just all around brilliant program. In at number 3, Ahsoka. I give Ahsoka an 8 out of 10. Slightly less rating of the Clone Wars. But I do enjoy it more. Maybe I just enjoy live action more, I don't know. But it was everything I was looking forward to. The end of Rebels. This is almost Rebels Season 5. Like I said, I love Ahsoka. She's my favourite character. And it was cool to see the older version, because I feel that my favourite version of Ahsoka is the younger version, is that Season 7 Ahsoka. But I really liked the way Rosario Dawson brought Ahsoka to life in this interpretation. A lot of people moan and say it's very stiff. No, I think that's exactly how it was supposed to be portrayed. Sort of, PTSD-like from the constant battles and wars until, of course, as we see later on when she meets Anakin, which was just phenomenal for everyone who's loved Star Wars. To see that on the screen meant a great deal to all of us. I thought the lightsaber fights were awesome. The flashback to the Clone Wars and the live action. Look at, you know, Mandalore and Ahsoka, baby Ahsoka, young Ahsoka, which was really cool. Seeing Anakin as Darth, like full-fledged, but without the suit, was brilliant. With the fighting, the red lightsaber. I think it was cool. It was hard to connect to certain characters you've loved as animation, to see them in live action. I think Hera was really good. I think Sabine was brilliant at it. But it did take me a while to really warm to Ahsoka as much as animation Ahsoka. But I got there, and especially from the conversion of Ahsoka the Grey, the PTSD child of war, to Ahsoka the White, who's made peace with it and is now moving forward with her life and what she feels she needs to be doing. It was really cool finding Thrawn and Ezra on the other galaxy, the other universe. Ezra, I thought was the actor played him very well. I thought it was very cool, and I overall really enjoyed Ahsoka. I really enjoyed Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati, sort of dark Jedi, really cool characters. And it's very sad, of course, the actor passing away who played Baylan Skoll. You know, rest in peace. There's rumours that the actor who played the Hound in Game of Thrones could be replacing him. That could be really interesting, because I do want to see Baylan Skoll's story continue. It seems like we're going down the Mortis Gods route, which was one of the best arcs in Clone Wars. So we'll have to wait and see. But that was really cool. And overall, as you know, season 1, a really good start to the show. In at number 2, Kenobi. I give Kenobi an 8 out of 10. Kenobi's controversial to a lot of people. I love Kenobi. I know there's so many problems. There's so many problems with it, unnecessarily so, you know, lazily done. The lightsabers bouncing and not cutting through. Leia, a child, you know, running to outrun pirates. It was really poorly shot, you know, the chase scene there. Hiding in Obi-Wan's cloak as they try to walk through, you know, the Quisitor base, just avoiding all of them. Just so ridiculous, you know. Obi-Wan managing to escape Vader just because a few flames have gone up when he could just push them out with the force of his hand. But overall, I loved Kenobi. I loved seeing Ewan McGregor and Hayden back, and that story of him being broken, of the past, but having to put that to one side to help Leia to rejuvenate himself, to come back to the light, to come back to the Force. And I think his chemistry is fantastic. The actress that played Princess Leia, I think it's brilliant. I thought it was really well done. I loved it. I think Hayden was brilliant coming back in the flashback fight scenes, of course, as Vader. I did like Reva. I don't think her story was particularly well done. And there is versions of the original plans for Kenobi out there that I thought also sound brilliant. But episodes 5 and 6 really were just worth it for themselves. To see Vader being a badass, destroying the ship, dismissing Reva so easily like a proper badass. I really enjoyed it. And of course, episode 6, the fight scene between Obi-Wan and Vader, was one of the best fight scenes in Star Wars for me. It was epic. It was grand. It was awesome. Seeing him slash the helmet a bit like Ahsoka did, and, you know, hearing the pain in Anakin's voice and seeing the emotion on Obi-Wan's face as he sees that although it is Anakin, it isn't anymore, and he can put that at peace, that he's done all he can and it's now Darth. Anakin's gone. Of course, we find out later Anakin isn't gone. Luke manages to bring him back, but Obi-Wan can't be the one to turn him as much as he tried. Seeing Qui-Gon appear at the end was fantastic. Just great little feel-good to see in there. But overall, I thought it was a really good show. I loved it. In at number 1, The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, I give an 8.5 out of 10. It's the best Star Wars show for me. A real fresh take on a lot of Star Wars. Seeing, you know, a Mandalorian, Din Djarin, lone sort of wolf out in the galaxy, bounty hunter, and of course he comes across Grogu, Baby Yoda, and his adventures and his journeys are just brilliant. Season 1 is fantastic, you know, teaming up with Cara Dune, going around, you know, trying to find a Jedi. To find who to give Baby Yoda to, his clan, his people, and coming across, of course, Moff Gideon, and the Darksaber being reintroduced. It was a really strong first season, but season 2 is where it is at for me. Season 2 is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. It's everything you want in a show. But Luke Skywalker returns. He comes back at the end of season 2. It's phenomenal. It's everything you want. Bo-Katan from the Clone Wars, you know, they bring in characters from the Clone Wars into live action. I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau do it so brilliantly. The story is well written in the first 2 seasons. The action's fantastic. Season 3 loses its way a bit. I personally still liked large parts of it because I'm a huge Bo-Katan fan, so it was great to see a heavy focus on Bo-Katan, but it feels like there was studio interference at the top because a lot of it was very up and down. It didn't really flow for me in a straight line. There were some cool things, like at the end, before the final episode, the Praetorian Guard turning up, taking out Paz Vizsla. It was a great fight scene, and I really loved the music. I really enjoyed it. I like the whole saga with the Darksaber finally coming to an end. I do feel Bo should have been the one to defeat Moff Gideon, but there you go. It was really cool, Grogu using the Force, a bit like Kanan did at the end of Rebels to save Din Djarin and Bo-Katan. It's all setting up for the, you know, Mandalorian, the movie. I'm really excited for that. But I just think the visual effects, you know, was fantastic with the Mandalorian. Really enjoy the deep dive into Mandalore with Din Djarin's character, the way, you know, it's really just different. It's not so focusing on the Jedi. It's just fresh, it's new, it's more interesting right now. And I really like so far of the Mandalorian. I've loved all 3 seasons. Yeah, season 1 and 2 are definitely better than season 3, but still overall very enjoyable. And that is why it's number 1 on my list. Well, thank you for watching another video. Please be sure to hit the like, the thumbs up button, and subscribe for all future videos and content. Leave a comment down below of what you like and what you don't like. Again, I'm just starting out, so any tips are appreciated and helpful, and I hope you enjoyed my ranking of the Star Wars series. Put your list and ranking in below, why you agree with mine, why you disagree with mine, and we can have a healthy debate about it, all in positive thing. Remember, there is no right or wrong answer. There's just individual views and taste. Let's all keep it respectful, and I'll catch you in the next video. May the Force be with you. Adios.